here on the aisle, Dylan Davis.
Jim, is Sonny settling in at linebacker the way that you thought he would, or at the rate you thought he would?
Yeah, I mean, very pleased with Sonny. You know, I think he's being put into a lot of different situations. Playing Sam, playing Will, he's playing Mike. All of those positions have their nuances to them, you know. And I know this, that sometimes when you see him or any of our players not, you know, being off on a play or looking like they're out of position, I mean, that to me goes back to me and training and coaching, right? I mean, there are so many details to these things that anytime a play goes wrong, and our players know this, I tell them, you know, all your bad plays are on me, all your good plays are on you. So when I look at a play, you know, I say, okay, he should have done this. But then I have to look at myself and you have to say, how many times was he in practice put into that position versus that play? I mean, that's how, you know, that's how you have to be accountable, I believe, as a coach, because we have really good players and really good kids, and Sonny is one of them. Meaning, you know, like they're good and they listen. So when you have that combination, then it goes back to coaching. So I would say that, you know, Sonny in particular, one of those guys, I mean, he's employing a myriad of different techniques, you know, playing kind of all three of those positions. And there's a lot of nuance to it, and we just gotta, you know, we gotta keep doing a better job coaching all the details.
Go third row over here, Andy Anders.
Yeah, kind of sticking with Sonny, you know, you had safeties transition to linebacker in the past, Malcolm Rodriguez. In your experience, how long does it take for someone to nail down those nuances, like you said, and then how long did it take with Malcolm?
Yeah, you know, Malcolm, who had a sack last night, I think, didn't he? I didn't see it, I was watching video, but somebody texted me.
Chip talked about the game too.
Yeah, okay. It's a good question, but yeah, I mean, Malcolm, I think, you know, he was on his the top of his game in year 3. You know, I think Sonny and Malcolm are a little different. You can look at them and see that, but you know, so, and plus at Ohio State, we don't have time for year 3. You know, so Sonny's in an accelerated program. That's all I can say. You know, and it's just going to keep getting better.
Go over here to Andy Backstrom.
Yeah, Jim, what differences do you maybe notice between the Iowa offense that you saw in 22 and this Iowa offense, and just what kind of challenges does Caleb Johnson pose, especially?
Well, you see, I mean, they're just doing a great job of creating seams for him, and he's fantastic back, you know, downhill, break tackle. So, you know, I just see, you know, that they're creating formations and ways to make it hard on the defense to maintain your proper position, and then, you know, they get guys out of whack formationally, and then he's able to crease it.
We'll go right down here in the aisle, Bill Landis.
Jim, when you guys decide to play 3 linebackers, is it automatic they're in 12 personnel, we're playing 3 linebackers? Is there more nuance to it? And then how, I guess, what are the conversations like when you decide to pull a guy like Jordan Hancock off the field? Because he just seems like he's one of your better players and really integral to what you guys do. So I'd imagine it's not easy to always pull him.
No, yeah, it's not easy, but you're right, it really is personnel based. And, you know, trying to get the people in there who, you know, particularly in the run game, and it's not that Jordan can't handle it, because he can. He does a really good job in the run game. And I've spent times in my career where we stayed at nickel and 12, you know, because those were our dudes, but we got other guys, you know, so we're just trying to get the best matchups.
Go center field over here, Patrick Murphy.
Obviously, you want to come out and have the perfect plan against an offense, right? But that doesn't always happen. The last 2 weeks, you guys have obviously made defensive adjustments at halftime that have worked. How much do you balance what you see on film and then knowing you're going to have to make those adjustments with
they're like two completely different processes, you know, they really are. I mean, the craziest thing about our profession is you can work on things all week and then show up in the game and they're not there. You're like, what the hell? So, you know, but that's our job is to try to create practice that mimics the game, you know? So that's where you really spend all your time. It's like success through scripting of, you know, okay, what plays am I gonna see against what defense? You're trying to predict what they're gonna do. And then you see what actually happens. And then maybe something that you thought was gonna work didn't work. You know, so you gotta move on. You gotta move on and you gotta adjust, but they're completely different processes, both of them.
Go front row center, Bill Rabinowitz.
Last week I asked you after you had 14 points to Marshall if you were a little frustrated. You said, yeah. Michigan State only gave up 7, and that came right after a turnover. You shut them down almost completely in the second half. In the first half, they moved the ball pretty consistently. What was your level of frustration then, and what do you think was the issue in the first half with them moving the ball?
Yeah, we've started slow, you know, the past couple weeks, and I blame myself for that, right? Again, it's you know, making, you know, there are thousands of permutations of what can happen, right? So that's exactly like I said, it's like, hey, I'm predicting this, they did that, okay. Well, that guy's supposed to know that, that's part of his job. But then you go back to, well, how many times did I really practice that? You know, how many times did I show that guy that technique versus that play or that route? You know, so the preciseness and the exactness of the preparation, I think, it happens a lot to coaches. It happens throughout my career, you know, that like in the beginning of the game, you know, you get some unpredictable things which may not, even publicly you might not notice, but you know, kind of what you were predicting and how you did it. And then, you know, your guys always go back, you always default to your training, you know, so you have to look at those plays where we failed on those plays and say, you know, why? And when it comes to the game, that comes to me, you know, it's just continuing to you know, be exact about how we're training, what we're training, what I'm showing, how predictable are we, you know, if they know what you're in, they can take advantage of it.
Go deep left field, Tim Holton.
Jim, Lathan Ransom has become a weapon with the way he can utilize the peanut punch. Now, not all DBs can do that. Is that something that you tell certain players to try to do, or do they just have to pick that up themselves?
Yeah, we love for all of them to do it. You know, I think you saw, you know, 2 big plays last week that we've spent on the positive side, that we've spent a whole spring and a fall camp training for those 2 plays, right? The one that Jordan ripped out and Lathan with the stealth punch. I mean, those are deliberate. Those do not happen accidentally. Those are deliberate. I think just like you said, we try to train everybody, but some guys are just better than others. You know, and Lathan Ransom is lethal with that. And I want him to keep it up.
Right on the aisle here, Spencer Holbrook.
Jim, one of the advanced stat sites says you guys can differentiate pressures and non-blitzes. Are you satisfied with how you guys are getting to the quarterback and affecting the quarterback right now?
Never satisfied, but we are, you know, they are executing what's called though, yeah. I think, you know, we gotta tighten up our coverage, you know, because we need that extra second because the guys are getting there, you know.
Go third row right here, Rob Aller.
Jim, you lead the nation 6.75 points allowed. And you hear,
There's 2 guys who said something about leading the nation.
right,
Both you guys get
Well, that's the point, and yet you.
It's rat poison, it's rat poison.
Yet you are hearing what's wrong with this defense. Have you ever had a defense?
Who's, I'm hearing what, what's wrong
Well,
with it?
or you're even saying that we could be better here.
Oh, yeah, well, we could.
Have you ever been nitpicked as much as you've been here, your defense? Is that to be expected in a place like this?
My father was pretty tough, he was a Philly cop, so. I got more than nitpicked, I got nit-whacked. I'm used to it.
What would it take to be satisfied? You said not satisfied, not satisfied. What does it take?
0 points, under 100 yards a game, 4 turnovers, scored twice on defense. Then I'll be satisfied.
We'll hold you to it.
Okay.
Behind Rob, Cameron T. Robinson.
Jim, what did you like about the 3 linebackers that you, the set that you put out early against Michigan State, and how do you want to see that grow or evolve, especially this weekend against
Yeah, I like the fact, you know, that they all can work together. You know, when you have maybe 2 guys and a nickel, you know, you're kind of in 2 different rooms. With the 3 linebackers, they're all in the same room and they can work together. And I think their understanding and processing is going very well. What we need to see better is tackling. You know, our linebackers need to continue to become better tacklers, and particularly this week, knockback tacklers, right? I mean, these guys are the kings of, in this running back, turning a 2-yard gain into a 4 or 5-yard gain, which then leads to second 5, which leads to 3rd and 2, you know? So we need to continue to work on our tackling and, you know, with an attitude of knocking people back.
Second row right here, Steven.
Kind of a 2-part here, a lot of it, we just heard a lot about coverage. For starters, could you evaluate your linebackers and how they've been in coverage so far? And then also, I think there's been a growing concern of how much off coverage you guys have been playing with the cornerbacks and trying to balance, you know, giving up some of that short stuff and just having guys who can excel at tackling versus maybe being more aggressive and having your corners better on the line of scrimmage.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the corners, off press, I mean, that's a constant thought, constant adjustment. Again, we've been solid on explosive plays, so I think you can't forget that, because that wins games, you know. And sometimes on those big deep, like you take a guy like Caleb Downs, who, you know, we activated Saturday, and you know, we're going to continue to activate him as we get into Big Ten competition. You see what he looks like when he's activated. What you don't see a lot is when he's not activated, how many times they just don't throw the ball deep. You know what I mean? Because he's in the right place and on top of the routes, and they don't even take those shots. Those shots aren't taken. So it's the same thing with the corners. It's like, you know, the answer to your question is, do we need to be pressed more? Yes, we do. And we need to keep working that in, but we got to balance it.
Deep center, we got time for 2 more. Deep center, Jeremy.
Ryan and Chip sort of have a luxury that Phil Parker and the defense and Iowa haven't changed in 20-some years. They have the first time their new offensive coordinator after a couple of years of being somewhat predictable offensively, and they're coming off a bye week. How does that impact with preparation you do, and how, generally speaking, how does the off week help the team prepare?
Yeah, it just gives you more time to study. You know, I mean, that's the only way I can put it. It gives you more time to study. But in terms of what we do, you know, you have to go off of what you have seen from them this year, and then, you know, always with a new offense coordinator, you got to go back in their history. You got to look at things that they've done in the past that maybe you haven't seen yet because you're ready. So you're ready for it, but you really got to go mostly off of what you see this year.
We'll wrap it up right here in the front, Austin.
Jim, the play that Cody made on 4th down, is that predetermined that he's going high, jumping? Is there a read that he has there?
It's call. Yeah.
Is that something, you've been talking about the number of reps that guys get in those situations, is that
You can't rep that, no, that's like, when I call this, you guys do that and you jump over the top. You're not gonna practice that. You're right, I don't know how you practice that. Cody, go up and practice and smash your head into Lincoln, you're not gonna do that,
Okay.
so,
Thanks, Coach.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.